Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Cool Colas here. So, I got another cool video for you, and I wanted to be able to talk to you all about it. So, today's topic is going to be about what type of things, like medias and brands, so on and so forth, inspire my writing and the things that I create. So, just to get into it, the first thing I want to start off with is, if you probably don't know this by now, is that I am a huge nerd. I have a lot of nerdy interests. It's like, even though I say that, I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there who, if they had a conversation with me and they saw the things that I was into, that they probably would feel that maybe I'm not a huge nerd, like I'm saying. But I feel like I have like the true like nerd vibe, just because of all the things that I actually like. I actually call myself a blurred. Anybody who doesn't know, that's basically like black nerd. That's the idea behind the word, if you don't really understand that terminology. But I have a ton of like really nerdy interest, and I've always had them since I was younger. I like some animes, and that's why I said some people may not feel that I'm like really that nerdy, but I feel I am. I like some animes. I like I used to like a lot of different like TV shows, like some of like the animated ones and stuff like that. I like um, looking at like superheroes and superhero shows and things like that. So I'm into that type of stuff. I was into like kind of like the nerdy like video games as well too. Like I was into stuff like Sonic the Hedgehog games. I was into Mario games growing up. I was into like pretty much like a nice chunk of like the Nintendo franchise like series games as well. Um, Other than like Mario. So yeah, I was just into all that type of stuff. I was definitely a Harry Potter fan. So I kind of like started listing off some of the things that I like that give me inspiration, but I'll kind of go into a little bit further detail about that. So the first thing I want to say is that I got inspiration from things that and I had to conceptualize in my own mind were things that were going to be creatively recycled. So what I mean by that is, a lot of times when there is a product in media that's already out, it's chances are it's probably been generated in a different form somewhere else. So I'm gonna give you an example. If you look at the Sonic the Hedgehog series and like the Dragon Ball Z series, there's a lot of like similarities there. Like for example, there's 7 Chaos Emeralds in Sonic the Hedgehog the series, and then there's like 7 Dragon Balls in Dragon Ball Z. Now those 7 things don't do the same things. However, something really strange is also like true about those things. Like although they both collect these things respectively, the Chaos Emeralds and Sonic and Dragon Balls and Dragon Ball Z. Another thing that I find that's very interesting is that they both have their main characters have super forms. Their main characters and their anti-heroes have super forms. Sonic has Super Sonic, and what does he do when he turns into Super Sonic? He turns like a yellow gold color. What does Goku do when he goes Super Saiyan? His hair turns a yellow gold color, and they both have yellow gold auras around them, and they both are super strong. And that's kind of like the idea behind that. So it's just weird how like those two are so similar and they have those types of things, and even their characters. If you look at like the dynamic of them, they're very similar as well too. Because you got Sonic, who's kind of like Goku, and then Tails, who's probably like a Krillin, I think. Knuckles, who's like Piccolo. Shadow the Hedgehog was like Vegeta. So it's like basically what I'm getting at is that anything that you see in media is probably creatively recycled, because there's a lot of elements that are the same. So I guess I say that to say that I think everything that I create is original, because really it's just it's original to a certain extent because it's creatively recycled as well. And I think that that's kind of the whole idea of how I'm getting motivation, is based on this idea of creatively recycling certain things that stick out to me. Now, some of the things that I used to watch growing up that kind of like helped some of my mindsets on writing were, just give you an example, Pokemon. I was a big Pokemon fan. I like the idea of different elements and different like powers, people fighting with different powers and stuff like that. That's always like been of interest to me. And I think because of this idea of two people fighting competitively and seeing who's going to win, who's not going to win, so on and so forth. I think that that dynamic kind of stuck with me, which is why I started liking like the whole comics thing, because I saw people with these different cool, like almost like supernatural powers in some cases, and them fighting against other people who may or may not have had supernatural powers. So Pokemon was a big influence on a lot of things that I wrote creatively. Harry Potter was a big influence creatively as well too, because there was a lot of magic, so that kind of brought out that magic element in my mind. Just thinking about, you know, certain events that take place that can't really be explained, and how other people who are considered wizards and witches, how they create that. So that's inspired some of my writing as well, and it's kind of helped me with more of like the fantasy whimsical type of thing. Harry Potter isn't like super whimsical, but it's definitely like fantasy related. There's definitely like a lot of elements there, like almost like old world, like England fantasy related. So I think that I took a lot of elements from that as well. I've gotten a lot of motivation, like I said, from video games and video game characters. The reason why I say that is because I just brought one up, Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a video game character, but I got motivation from the video game storylines and from like him as a character in other continuities, like the comics. I used to be a big Sonic the Hedgehog comic book fan, like a very big fan. And a lot of that was kind of similar to, in ways it was kind of similar to Pokemon. Because like you had these like animals who all had like these different powers. Like for example, Sonic has speed, Tails is able to like fly, Knuckles has like super strength so he can fight and stuff like that. So it's like, and then they were like very colorful. So like I like things that are colorful too. And I like to have like different options of characters to like and to like draw energy from, and to just say, hey, like this character resonates with me, and I could see certain traits in this character in something that I write. So Sonic the Hedgehog was a big one, both in video games and in comics as well too. So that was another thing. Another thing that I think really kind of taught me well about like the concept of heroes and villains and things like that. And this one is going to be really funny. So like if you're watching this video, please don't laugh. You know what? I don't even care if you laugh. Just hear me out here. It's WWE, or at the time WWF when I first started watching it. But like the reason why that gave me a lot of motivation is because as far as like understanding like the concept of heroes and villains, is because anybody who understands WWE understands the way that it's structured, which is that there's some wrestlers who are called heels and some wrestlers who are called faces. So what that basically means is like good versus bad. And so that's been blurred a little bit, you know, as time went by, like as, you know, I guess like the Attitude Era that people call it, like started kind of like phasing out and everything like that. That started getting blurred more because people started liking heels more and not liking faces as much because they were pushed too much. But regardless, like it taught me the bad versus good concept pretty well, because when people wrestled, you knew who was a heel, you knew who was a face. You always knew who was a heel because they would boo the person, and then they would do kind of like devious things. And then you had like the faces who were basically cheered and loved, and they did things that made them seem respectable. And then you had those characters or those wrestlers who were like right in the middle, and they kind of like treaded lines. Now that didn't happen so much back then, but you know, you also had those as well. So I think that was kind of the idea, is that it taught me the idea of, stories, they got to have a good guy, they got to have a bad guy, and having an anti-hero was cool, or having like a side character is cool, or having like you know, in wrestling, for example, you have your main eventers who are good guys, but then you have like your like kind of mid-card people who are good guys. And really, like if you look at stories, they kind of work that same way. And so I think that dynamic has always been pretty interesting to me. So like I've gotten a lot of motivation from, you know, that type of thing as well too. So there's a couple other things that I'm probably forgetting, but I would say like the big ones that have really influenced me, like the big pieces of media, are Sonic the Hedgehog in both video games and in like series, like for comics. Pokemon was a big one. Dragon Ball Z was also a very big one as well too. I didn't really get to talk about that too much, but I would say Dragon Ball Z, because of the, like the power scale and this idea of this person's powerful, now this person's powerful. That was always cool to me, like the idea of advancement and power levels. So Dragon Ball Z was another influencer. Yu-Gi-Oh was sort of an influencer, but it was more so like, I kind of like the storylines, and it kind of just was reminiscent of other things that I liked, such as Pokemon, because you got monsters fighting each other and you're thinking about these different powers. WWE was a big influencer. Harry Potter was a big influencer. I'm trying to think of other ones that really stuck out to me. Different Nintendo games that I played, different Sega Genesis games that I used to play back in the day. Superhero shows, they kind of influenced me as well too. Another thing that I would say too is like Avatar, like the Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, that type of thing. That also influenced my writing in a lot of ways as well. And then a lot of other things that I've noticed too is like some of the storylines in the stories that they would tell in these different like pieces of media. They actually like help me to kind of like develop the way that I write my own stories. And since we're on topic of that, one big thing I wanted to talk to you all about is that another thing that's influenced me is just watching just TV in general, like just watching interesting shows that I actually find entertaining and good. And that can really be like anything from any type of drama, from like something that's drama related to something that's like a superhero show to something that is like a WWE. I think watching TV has actually helped me more than it's actually harmed me. Now, the things I will say is that I see a lot of like message throwing, and I don't really care for that, because I mean, when I watch TV, I want to watch something that's like, I can relax, and I feel like messages are just thrown in there all the time, and sometimes that's very exhausting. But other than that, like actually watching, different TV shows and stuff like that has actually helped me, because I'm looking at the way that they're writing like these stories. And I even got to the point where I got good at like guessing when certain things might happen because of the way that I write. So for me, it's actually educational, whereas for somebody it may be considered a waste of their time, because like for them they may feel like, oh well, I could be doing something else, but here I am sitting on the couch watching TV. And I'm like, basically what I'm doing is I'm taking notes as I'm watching TV. Like, I'm not literally taking notes, but in my head I'm taking notes on the way that they wrote certain stories. And then like even after like the whatever show we watch goes off, my wife and I will even have a conversation like, why did this character do this? Why did that character do that? And now I find myself even in stories saying things like, that's plot armor right there. They wanted this character. They wanted to force this thing to happen on us. They wanted us to like this person even though we hate them. They wanted us to hate this person, and they're like trying to push it. Or this right here, this feels too forced. Like, why did they do it like this? Or that right there, that was boring. Or that right there, like, I swear this person is always good. I swear this person is always in a bad light. I swear, like, every character can never be good. Like, I hate every character in the show. So it's like, it kind of just brings out those different things in you as you watch it. And so that's kind of what I've always enjoyed about TV. And I mean, I watched a bunch of shows that have actually helped me, and just to name a few that have definitely helped. Like I said, like Yu-Gi-Oh is always a really cool show. Dragon Ball Z was cool. These are just like animes. I've also liked some of like the regular shows, like another show, like shows that I like. For example, like Power. They actually has a really cool like dynamic. I used to watch Empire, when it was still on and stuff like that. Greenleaf, things like that. And then like other shows like Once Upon a Time, that brings out like that fantasy and that like I said, that whimsicality. So there's that as well too. And then there's like just other little shows like here and there, like the comic shows like Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Black Lightning. And then like the Luke Cage, Daredevil, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I could keep going on and on. I've watched so many shows at this point, like it's ridiculous. And it seems like it's a waste of time, but really it's not. It's very helpful and educational for me. Anyways, I'm going to get going. I really appreciate everybody who's watched this video and has enjoyed watching me rant for like 15 minutes here. But I got a lot of other videos to come. Keep tuning in. But other than that, I hope you guys have a good night, and I will talk to you all later. Peace.